the mighty and resilient Merrimack River, carving through the communities of our great region. My name is Linda Lorden, proud president of Merrimack County Savings Bank, and like the river that serves as our namesake, we're a constant yet ever-changing presence. Because to us, it's bigger than banking. It's about powering communities and putting people first. It's about knowing where you came from and where you're going. That's Merrimack style. Visit us at themerrimack.com.
Welcome to a special series of the 5-Minute Biographies podcast, while we wait for Season 18 of the regular show to commence. During this series, we are taking a brief look at the lives of the first 10 presidents of the United States. This is Episode 1, George Washington. George Washington, the first President of the United States and one of the most revered figures in American history, was born on the 22nd of February 1732 in Westmoreland County, Virginia. His leadership during the American Revolution, his role in shaping the new nation, and his steadfast commitment to the principles of liberty and democracy earned him the title of Father of his Country. Washington's life, marked by public service and personal sacrifice, set the precedent for the office of the presidency and left an enduring legacy. Washington was born into a moderately wealthy family of planters. His father, Augustine Washington, was a successful tobacco planter and landowner, while his mother, Mary Ball Washington, was a strong and pious woman who played a central role in Washington's upbringing. As the eldest of 6 children from his father's second marriage, George was expected to inherit and manage a considerable amount of land. However, his father's untimely death in 1743, when George was just 11 years old, significantly altered the trajectory of his life. With the death of Augustine Washington, George's formal education came to an end. He had received only a basic education at local schools, learning subjects such as mathematics, surveying, and the rudiments of reading and writing. Unlike many of his contemporaries from wealthy Virginian families who were sent to England for advanced schooling, Washington did not have the opportunity to pursue higher education. Nonetheless, he was an avid reader throughout his life, continuously educating himself and broadening his understanding of the world. As a young man, Washington developed a strong interest in surveying, and, at the age of 16, he secured his first job as a surveyor in the Virginia frontier. This work not only provided him with practical skills, but also allowed him to acquire a deep knowledge of the land and the people living on the western frontier. His time as a surveyor also helped him accumulate land of his own, further enhancing his status and wealth in Virginia society. In 1752, at the age of 20, Washington's life took another turn when his older half-brother, Lawrence Washington, passed away. Lawrence, who had been a mentor and role model to George, had served in the Virginia militia and had helped introduce him to the world of military service. Upon Lawrence's death, George inherited the family estate, Mount Vernon, located along the Potomac River. This estate would remain Washington's home for the rest of his life and serve as a symbol of his enduring connection to the land and his role as a planter. Washington's first significant military experience came during the French and Indian War, which took place between 1754 and 1763, a conflict between the British and French empires in North America. In 1754, Washington was appointed as a lieutenant colonel in the Virginia militia and was sent to confront French forces in the Ohio Valley. Though his initial campaign resulted in a defeat at Fort Necessity, Washington's bravery and leadership earned him respect and recognition. He continued to serve throughout the war, gaining valuable military experience and learning the complexities of leadership and warfare, despite often facing difficult conditions and inadequate resources. After the war, Washington returned to Virginia, where he married Martha Custis, a wealthy widow, in 1759. The marriage not only brought him happiness and companionship, but also significant wealth and social standing, as Martha's estate was one of the largest in Virginia. Washington became a devoted stepfather to Martha's 2 children from her previous marriage, and took his role as a planter and landowner seriously, overseeing the management of Mount Vernon and expanding its holdings. Despite his contentment with life at Mount Vernon, Washington became increasingly drawn into the growing political tensions between the American colonies and Great Britain. He was a staunch supporter of colonial rights and became actively involved in the Virginia House of Burgesses, the colony's legislative assembly. As Britain imposed new taxes and restrictions on the colonies, Washington, like many of his contemporaries, became convinced that independence was the only solution to protect the liberties of the American people. When the American Revolution began in 1775, Washington was appointed Commander-in-Chief of the Continental Army by the Second Continental Congress. His leadership during the war, marked by perseverance, strategic acumen, and a deep commitment to the cause, was critical to the success of the American fight for independence. Despite facing numerous challenges, including a lack of supplies, poorly trained troops, and the formidable British military, Washington led his forces to several key victories, most notably the Battle of Trenton in 1776 and the final victory at the Siege of Yorktown in 1781, which effectively ended the war. After the war, Washington's reputation as a national hero was unparalleled. He returned to Mount Vernon, hoping to retire to private life, but the fragile state of the new nation soon drew him back into public service. In 1787, he was chosen to preside over the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia, where the framework for the United States Constitution was drafted. Washington's leadership during the convention helped shape the foundational principles of the nation, and when the Constitution was ratified, he was unanimously elected as the first President of the United States in 1789. Washington's presidency was marked by the establishment of many precedents that would shape the future of the office. He navigated the early years of the new republic with caution, understanding the fragility of the fledgling government. His administration laid the groundwork for a strong federal government, implemented financial policies to stabilize the economy, and maintained neutrality in foreign affairs, avoiding entanglement in European conflicts. Washington's decision to voluntarily step down after 2 terms in office set a crucial precedent for the peaceful transfer of power, a cornerstone of American democracy. After retiring from the presidency in 1797, Washington returned to Mount Vernon, where he hoped to live out his remaining years in peace. However, his health began to decline, and on the 14th of December 1799, George Washington passed away at the age of 67. His death occurred at his beloved Mount Vernon estate, where he was buried in the family tomb. His passing was mourned by the nation he had helped to create, and his legacy as the indispensable man of the American Revolution and the first President of the United States has endured ever since. Washington's leadership, vision, and commitment to the principles of liberty and self-governance continue to inspire generations. I hope you enjoyed that special episode of 5-Minute Biographies. If you did, why not subscribe or leave a review wherever you get your podcasts? Also, why not check out our other 5-minute podcasts at 5minuteproductions.com. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, it's official. We are very much in the final sprint to Election Day. And face it, between debates, polling releases, even court appearances, it can feel exhausting, even impossible to keep up with. I'm Brad Milkey. I'm the host of Start Here, the daily podcast from ABC News. And every morning, my team and I get you caught up on the day's news in a quick, straightforward way that's easy to understand, with just enough context so you can listen, get it, and go on with your day. So, kickstart your morning. Start smart with Start Here and ABC News, because staying informed shouldn't feel overwhelming.